The recording. Ah, hello. Yes, everything's working. Everything's recording. Everything's picking up. Hooray, it looks right. Welcome back to Witch Hat Atelier and my little reaction series of it. The final episode of Season 1 is out now, so it's about time for me to actually see where they leave this season off. I have my suspicion. I have a pretty good suspicion of exactly where they're going to leave it off, and it's going to be heartbreaking. But the fun is going to be in seeing how we get her there. And so, if you haven't been along to one of these recording sessions before, the way that I do them is I am lazy, and I don't want to do extra work on this channel, because this is technically my chill out and relax channel. So I'm not going to go through the rigmarole of editing a reaction video in the very complex ways that are necessary in order to be able to get it past, content ID and copyright and shit. So instead, what you're going to be getting on screen is mostly, well, what you're seeing right now, which is a little sliver of the bottom of the screen where the subtitles are, and then a timestamp in the top left corner, which you are going to use yourself with your own copy of Witch Hat Atelier on your computer to stay in time with where I am and what I'm doing. And I'm going to give you a countdown. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, and then we both press play at the same time. And then I'm going to give you another countdown whenever I need to yap about something. When I say 3, 2, 1, pause, and then we pause at the same time. And in that way, we're going to stay in sync and be more or less in the same place, right? It's inconvenient for you and convenient for me, and that's the way I have intentionally designed it. If you want things to be a little more convenient, well, you can join the Discord, if you like, with all of these extremely normal people. Don't let anyone else tell you any different. They are normal. They're totally normal. We've had them all tested. Not with their knowledge, but still. Or else you can become a member of the channel and you'll get access to some more convenient versions of these reactions that are a little bit easier to deal with if you want. That starts at $1 a month, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Instead, you can just do it the way we're about to do it right now. 3, 2, 1, go. Huh. 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 Interesting. Three, 2, 1, pause. Hey, gee, I wonder if that's like a metaphor for something. I wonder if Kiefer's telling that story and it's like thematically relevant to something else in the story. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but I don't know. Like, we had this magical super civilization that loves how much they love magic, and they kind of look down on everyone else, and they isolate themselves and build big walls around their kingdom and their magic, and they keep everyone else out, and they are very, very choosy and selective and arrogant about who gets access to all of their wonderful magic. And eventually the consequences of their society being this way is that they turn on themselves and on those in whom no merit is found would deem better fit to decorate the city, huh? Those who couldn't contribute, those who didn't have something great to give to the city. Weird. It's like they're discarded and just kind of thrown away and used as nothing. That's weird. I'm sure that's not a metaphor for anything. Like, for example, what if you had a disability that made you not very good at magic for some reason, and then what if society around you treated you like trash and kind of worthless and a burden and not really useful and just kind of discarded you if you had that disability? That was sort of thematically almost like a metaphor, be almost a little bit kind of the same similar situation-ish to the one that's Kiefer is describing here. But I'm sure, gentle listener, that it is merely a coincidence, and that the story means nothing by this. There's not a moral to this story about a deeply isolated society full of too much self-regard that eventually turns on itself and crumbles under the weight of all of its own delusions of grandeur and glory. I'm sure that doesn't mean anything, and it's not a relevant thematic lesson or anything to anything else that's happening in Witch Hat Atelier. It's just a campfire story that he's telling. He's telling them for no reason whatsoever. I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards. Well, no, this is subtext. I will say it's once you lay it out, like, sort of step by step and connect the things, like, you can see it as a very obvious, very on the nose, like, oh, hey, so there's been a society before that sort of isolated themselves into their magic supremacy. Interesting. And that went badly for them, you say? Fascinating. But again, this is part of what Witch Hat Atelier is trying to examine, right? Like, it's examining these questions of what happens when a small group of people declares themselves to be in some way, shape, or form inherently of a better type of person than everyone else, right? Like, more worthy, with more right to power, with more right to certain things. Like, what happens? What happens to a society that's founded on the principle that we have more right to beauty, truth, art, creativity than other people do? Right. And again, as we've talked about in Witch Hat, it's not always just as simple as thing good or thing bad, right? Like, it's trying to examine things from multiple angles. But I think Kiefer telling this story here the way that he does, and the voice actor is also, especially, I'm listening to it in English, the voice actor is also laying it on a little bit thick. It does give you the hint that this means a thing or two. And it's also like, you can see the parallels with something like literally prison bars, right? You can see the parallels with something like the story of King Midas, right? It's a fable in that sort of classic vein of a parable about the dangers of greed and the folly of valuing gold above piety, above humility, above, other human beings, things like that. Like, it has echoes of other things as well. But given what it is and where in the story it's placed, it's like, yeah, no, it's safe to say that the metaphor means something here. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Three, 2, 1, pause. Sorry to pause again quite so fast. But I do want to bring up a little, which, like, I'm sure a lot of people caught that, but I want to bring up a little reminder. Where Coco got that idea from. Who was it that put that idea in Coco's head, that magic is a miracle that makes this world vibrant? And as we've seen, like, there's the other scene with the brimmed cap witch here, where they're sitting on that gravestone and talking about how magic is a lie, right? That makes the world vibrant. Like, so the brimmed hat is lying to Coco a little bit here. That's not necessarily what the brimmed hats themselves believe. But it is notable that where Coco gets her philosophy of magic is from here, right? She didn't get it from Kiefer. She got it from this, right? From this person specifically. And again, there's that complexity to it, because Coco's philosophy of magic, right? Like, the fact that Coco believes in her heart of hearts, that magic is a miracle that exists to make the world vibrant. That she believes that. That's part of what makes her the protagonist, right? That's part of what makes her capable of being as good as she is because she believes this in a way that, like, a lot of witches kind of don't. A lot of witches get caught up in the class system and the politics and the nobility and, like, the material, like minutia of all of it and the power structure. Coco has this idealism to her, and that's part of what makes her special. That's part of what makes her unique and capable of seeing the world in a different way and capable of helping her friends, helping Tarta. And she got that from here. So complexity, right? Because as we saw, as we shall see in this storyline, I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying that. As we shall see in this storyline, the brimmed caps and their philosophy of magic is a many-faceted beast, shall we say. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Such a good theme. Whee! Gravity's a motherfucker. Uni's body language. I do want to see how much they commit to unis. Character development. Character development. Anyway, we're gonna kill that man. 3, 2, 1, pause. So hey, remember that metaphor about how if something is deemed to not be useful or of value to society, they kind of just throw it out and treat it with cruelty. Hey, remember that? Remember how Kiefer told that story about a society that just kind of casually did that and discarded anything that was deemed to not be of value? What an interesting story. I wonder if it has any bearing on the action that's happening currently. And again, magic is creativity, right? Magic is ideas. Magic is the stuff that you bring from your own soul out and make real into the world, right? That's what magic is. And so again, here the metaphor is this thing of like, well, why aren't you drawing something that looks nice in the way that, like, why aren't you drawing the popular fan art? Why is your drawing not like, why isn't it rendered, why doesn't it look realistic? Why does it look cartoony? Why are you drawing anime? Why are you drawing this thing or that thing? Why are you drawing furries? Why aren't you making the thing that's valuable? Why aren't you making the thing that's correct? Right? Like, why aren't you opening up an anatomy book and drawing the anatomy perfectly and learning all of the correct skills and doing things correctly? Why aren't you doing that? That's also part of this here, right? And especially when it comes to Riche and her character arc, this is about how she finds a way to hold on to her magic, right? How she finds a way to hold on to herself through her expression, right? And asserts that her expression is valuable and that it means something, right? That's why she's so protective of her own spells. It's because she has seen and understands that if you yield your own creativity to someone else's instruction entirely, and you're only focused on using magic as like a creativity, as like a single-minded tool to reach the optimal conclusion to an already solved problem, you will lose some of yourself, right? Like that, you will lose your own expression and your own soul to an extent. Keep that in mind for how Riche's story arc concludes at the end of this arc, which... would that happen? They might shift it around, is the thing. It would make sense that they conclude it here, and that's... because the conclusion of Riche's story arc here, well, that's a conclusion, but the climax of her current character arc here is one of the more impactful moments in the story. One of the moments that did make me cry the first time I read it, just because, yeah, you'll see. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, scolded Agot. That's definitely gonna work. they do. Three, two, one, pause. His body language, right? Like, and also character design. Uni's character design is very obvious in a way. He's blinded, right? He has this dark curtain hanging down over his eyes that is blinding him, right? His reality is blinkered, right? All he sees ahead of himself is darkness. But it's also being used in his body language. Like we saw that in the previous episode, the way that he constantly is pulling his hair down over his eyes because he has this fear of seeing and being seen. Which again, like eyes and sight and surveillance is a major part of how Witch Hat Atelier works as well. If you pay attention to it, like sight, surveillance, and eyes is a bit of imagery that shows up over and over again. The Knights Moralis are a surveillance force, for example. But it's effective use of his body language to sort of emphasize what it is that he's doing. He's constantly pulling the wool over his own eyes, right? And constantly trying to avoid seeing the world, but also to avoid being seen. And that's Uni, good little character. Like they establish a really good character with him really quickly. But also, he's right. Tests have correct answers, right? That's what a test is. It's a thing of someone else sat down and invented a problem and said, okay, here's the way that this problem is supposed to be solved, and then that's the metric, right? Like we have, this is something you'll know if you, like, from the school system is, like, tests have answers, and you need to know the correct answers in order to pass the test, because that's the structure of this form of knowledge engagement, right? They are, structurally speaking, conforming things, right? Like, because regardless of how they are shaped and formed, every test implies the structure of its own solution, right? And so there's always, with any kind of a test, there's always a structural pressure on any student who's trying to pass the test to conform to a certain standard, to conform to an expected standard and an expected answer in order to be able to pass the test. That's what it does as a structural barrier. Sometimes that's very useful. Driving tests are supposed to have correct answers, for example. Like, you don't get to get creative about that. Poison testing. Very important that there are correct answers there. Like chemistry, you need some tests that are like physics. Oh boy, tests need to have very correct answers there. It's like important for the thing. But again, the question here is creativity, right? Like the field of study here is creativity. And so Rishi is bristling against this, right? Like the idea that getting through this cave with fucking magic, with imagine literally anything out of your brain and make it real magic, and there's one correct answer? No, that's stupid. And she's right about that. And also, as we talked about, there is complexity to it. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Gee, I wonder who. Who are you talking about, Agat? And 3, 2, 1, pause. Sorry, I need to yap about this a little bit. It's the knowledge you gain from your failures can lead you to success. And we get this shot lingering on the sylph shoes. The sylph shoes that Coco drew, right? The sylph shoes that are actually a little bit fucked up because Coco drew the seal a little bit wrong, so they're way too powerful. But hey, Agat, you're still wearing them, I notice. I noticed that you spend a lot of time practicing with them and trying to figure out how to fly with them, and you just use them, and you didn't redraw the seals at all. Isn't that interesting? Almost as though it sort of means something to you a little bit. Isn't that fun? But also, failure can lead you to success, right? Coco figured that shit out on her own by failing a lot. And it's, again, especially when it comes to Agat's character, right? Remember how Agat feels about failure. Remember how Agat feels about being delayed by anything, about not being good enough in any way. And yet, right? So it's again character design used as a small way to indicate character development. She's wearing the flawed shoes. She could redraw them. She could fix them. But something in her is shifting a little bit there, and it's subtle, right? Like, it's not beating you over the head with it, but it's nice. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. We're gonna kill Uni's master, by the way. We're all gonna get together, and we're all gonna be each other's alibi. If the police asks, all of us are just gonna say we don't know where we were with the other one, and we were nowhere near the crime scene. Three, two, one. Pause. I do. That's a. There's something about this I wanted to look closer at. Is it just me, or is there something? Is there something really Ghibli about this piece of animation in particular? It's something about the way they render her face here, because we're at a medium distance, right? So we're a little bit far away, so they're not rendering her at full detail. So it's like a little simplified. And it's the way her face and the expression. Something about this reminds me so much of the expressions you get on, like, Miyazaki's female children when they're, like, curiously peering at something. Which, like, I don't know who animated this. Like, maybe it could be someone who's been at Ghibli, but... And it's also something about the way they handle, like, the little... Like, she spreads her arms out that way to hold her balance, and then all the wind that's in her clothes is also a thing. Like Ghibli movies love wind through clothes. Wind is a motif with Ghibli movies, especially with Miyazaki. There's something about the spread of it here that just, like, that really just put me in mind of, like, oh shit, this is like... This felt that way. Something about the approach to the character felt Ghibli-esque to me. I just wanted to have a closer look at it. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. She's so fucking cool. I love her. Three, two, one, pause. That's good advice, by the way. For art as well. certainly when you're an artist, especially if you're relatively young in your craft, there's so many things like I don't know how to draw this thing. I don't know how to draw hands, right? I don't know how to draw a horse. Horses are bastards. Like they're difficult, right? I don't know how to draw. Like, how do I draw a car? How do I? And one of the fundamental pieces of advice that is very, very good to understand is okay, you don't know how to draw a hand. Can you draw a triangle? Can you draw a cylinder? Can you draw a box? Okay. Then figure out how many cylinders and boxes are needed to make a hand, and then draw those. Draw the cylinders and boxes, and then use that as a skeleton around which to start building hands, right? Like that's the place to start, is not with what you can't do, but with your understanding of the abilities that you do have, and then trying to apply them to the problem at hand. It's good advice. I love her gesture here. Like the way that she's like all the way up on her tippy toes, pulling this fucking taffy out of the stone. And you can see also, like, Riche has this obsession with ribbon spells, right? Like, with spells that make all kinds of little crystal ribbons and things like that. And so you can see the way that this spell is kind of an expression of her, right? That's a solution she would come up with the spells that she likes. And this landing, too. What a way to do it. Like, with this extreme foreshortening on the ribbon into the front of frame, and then, God, they love cloth. They really do, don't they? They just love cloth. The billow, the weight, the heft, the fall of it. I don't often think about cosplaying anime, but I kind of want a witch's robe. I really kind of do. Just like big, many layers of like just cloth that's like airy and kind of free to move around in. That would be lovely. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm fine. Gotta be quick though. See how he covers himself up? Wow! What? I love her. Hi, Apollo. Hi, baby boy. Hi, chunky man. Yes, hello. Hi. Okay, he wants up. He wants up again. 3, 2, 1, pause. I wanted to let that one play out, but... what a good little scene. So we're definitely, like, we're speedrunning character arc for Uni a little bit here. It does... I think the pacing of it works out a little bit better in the manga. Read the manga, please. But this being the second to last episode, there isn't a lot of time to go through it. I do love the voice actor's performance with a got here. I'm fine! It's very sweet. And, like, the crossfade here makes it very clear, like, where is that shaking coming from, right? It's coming from this. From this fucking... Teemo fucking ass Snape motherfucker. From this asshole, this piece of shit. As I talked about, like, my master drills it into my head every day, I can't do it, right? Which, compare and contrast with how Keyfree teaches his kids. And notice the symbol of the eye again, right? Like, sight, eyes, looking. Uni is terrified of being seen, and he's terrified of seeing as well, right? Like, he can't see the world ahead of him. He can't see what's possible. And so he's stuck here, right? I wish I could be anyone else. Because what I am is not worth being, right? Like, that's the core of it. And again, remember, magic, spells are expressions of the soul, right? They're expressions of the self. They come from inside of you. So long as he's stuck in this thing of, I can't come up with anything, I can't make anything, nothing I do will ever be good enough, then all he's able to do is copy what other people have done, right? Because he feels what's inside of me is not worth bringing. What's inside of me is, like, that's not worth looking into, that's not worth developing, it's not worth examining myself, right? It's not worth thinking about myself, which is why he only has other people's spells in his choir, which is why he can't draw, right? He can't draw because he doesn't think he has anything worthwhile in there to get out. And so he can't express his soul, right? Like, that's the core of it, is that he cannot, like, that's the thing with Riche, right? Like, it's about identity. He can't be who he is because he can't express who he is. Because this structure that he's stuck in with his fucking master, and the way that witch society kind of treats magical ability and the ability to perform, all of that is locking him away from himself. Which is what makes him a good foil to Riche, right? Because he's kind of a demonstration of what happens when someone doesn't have the fucking... the fucking spine of steel and stubbornness that Riche does, right? And certainly also, like, Riche also had the luck that she was able to go to Keyfree's atelier, which poor Uni here isn't quite so lucky. I adore her animation here. Look how good she is! And it's very good expressive animation as well from the animators, right? Because part of the reason why Riche's movements here are so wild is because she's tiny, right? Like, she's tiny in frame, and so subtlety doesn't work. If you want the character's actions to read when they're that far away and they're that low detail, you don't have any other option except to go kind of big. You kind of have to. And here it's being used really well. Because, like, the other option you have is you could always cut to a close-up of her, right? You could always cut closer to it. But the animators choose not to do that. So instead we get these adorable, really simple. Speaking of which, you remember how we talked about how if you have trouble drawing hands, well, what can you draw? What about that? Can you draw that? If you can draw shapes as simple as this, you can animate a character like that. Just saying, like, that's part of it, right? Like, you don't have to be able to animate the fucking Sakuga at the high points of the most amazing episodes of Witch Hat. If you can draw shapes as simple as that, you can make animation. Riche's so good. And again, the signifier of the hair, right? This is why he keeps pulling at his hair. Why he keeps pulling it in front of his eyes is because he can't stand seeing or being seen. And like you know what would happen if his master had been there, right? If it had been his master there, or if it had been some witch kids that were raised by a master like his master, that were being the proctor of this test and were being the other test participants at this test, this would have turned out very differently for Uni. Because they would have said, okay, I mean, if you can't do the test, then fuck off, I guess. Like, go home, you loser. Right? Like, they would not have that patience with him. But these are Keyfree students. Right? And Agot certainly has the impatience, right? Agot is like, I need to yell at him more! That's the solution! Where Ricci is like, no, shut the fuck up. Agot certainly has it, right? That impulse for impatience and performance and things like that. But Ricci understands. Because, like, another thing I'll remind you is Uni here isn't the only one who made himself a little hidey hole in his own room, right? Remember Ricci's magic pot and the little lair that she has down there? Yeah, like, Ricci does the same thing. She kind of needs that same protection and solitude sometimes. So you kind of get why she understands him, right? It's because he's a picture of what could have happened to her if she hadn't gotten out of the situation she was in. And, like, good on her, right? She's not judging, she's just waiting. It's just, okay. Like, he needs to go through some shit right now. He's got there's some shit in there, all right? Let's just sit and wait. Right? No judgment, no anger, no nothing, just wait. And we get that little glimpse of his eyes. And we return to the idea of seeing, right? Reflecting. And we return to the idea of reflecting also, right? Like, he's thinking about his own reflection, then that prompts his thinking pattern, right? His curiosity, where rather than looking for a correct answer, he looks for inspiration, right? But it's not as though he's not being Ricci about it. He's not completely inventing his own spell from scratch, but he's doing things the way that he does them, which is like, I'm looking to other people's things for answers, right? Like, he's looking at what other people have done, but rather than just copying it, he goes, okay, this is how someone else has done it. What if I do something similar, but different in my own way? And he comes up with something that's so surprising that, like, this experienced battle witch is like, holy fucking shit, what's happening? Like, she hears battle music, RPG transition. And when he pops back out from the shadow, His hairstyle hasn't changed, but we get to see his eyes now. And that's, again, character design. Good use of character design for storytelling. Because you can tell on the change to his design how he suddenly feels, right? Like, he's not blinded by it anymore. He has sight now. He can see a way forward. Which, again, remember Coco's interaction with Tarta? Right? That Coco, by coming up with that spell for him, was able to give Tarta his sight back a little bit. She enabled him to see the world. She gave him an accessibility tool, right? Like a disability tool that allowed him to start seeing the world and start seeing possibilities where before he only saw limitations, right? I have Silver Wash. That means I can never, like, there's no solution to any of this. I'm never going to be a witch. I'm never going to be able to do much because I can't see the world. We return to this image again, right? That Coco and Coco's philosophy and Kefri's philosophy, to a large extent as well, the thing that matters is opening people's eyes, right? Allowing them to see the world is a big thing, right? Magic is a miracle that makes the world vibrant, that makes things sparkle, that makes you see possibilities. Again, that's what creativity is for. It's a way to see the world, and yourself, for that matter. And not gonna lie, if I could just walk around and be like a little fucking shadow gremlin sometimes, that would kind of rule. Just I want that. I want to go around and fucking be a Heartless sometimes. You know, sometimes you just want to be a little shadow gremlin. And again, props to the animators, because see how much Uni's body language has changed, right? Now that he's finally had, like, one validating experience. How much he opens up, how expressive he becomes. Right? He shows his hands. He's been, the entire time we've known Uni, he's been hiding his hands the whole time, right? Because the hands are the things that shake, right? Like, they are the signifiers of his incapacity, his weakness. Now he's showing them. Cheerfully, he's using them, he's gesturing, he's being expressive. In case you're wondering, yeah, absolutely, you can, there's a trans metaphor or two in this little boy. Right? You can absolutely, like, do a queer reading of him from that perspective, right? Because, like, if you've ever known a trans person pre-transition and then post-transition, you're familiar with the way that, oh, wow, you have a lot of body language all of a sudden. That's, wow, you got really expressive in a way that you didn't used to be. That's a thing. So that's like an apt reading for what's going on with Uni's story, right? He's so, all of a sudden, he's so expressive. All of a sudden, he's so alive, right? It's so fucking cute. Oh, precious boy. And again, in like queer reading of him, I think it is notable that Uni changes and gains capacity once he's able to change something about how he's perceived in the world, right? What he's able to do is, like, I get to choose how I'm being perceived, right? Like, I get to choose how other people see me, and that makes me really happy. Right? That makes me feel safe and happy and comfortable in myself. Oh, hey! Queer metaphor! And if, like, besides that, obviously also, like, it's about self-confidence, it's about self-worth, it's about, you know, the difference between affirming teachers and like, controlling teachers. Those things also. And again, with Uni, he sort of does a twist on what Riche did, right? Like, the spell that he chooses and the way that he gets over the gap, he doesn't copy her. He just does something similar that works for him. So it's not that he's just turning into Riche, but he's finding his own way to be, right? His own way to express magic. That's still based in, like, studying and all of that, but, like, fucking... Let me just... Hang on. Where's his introduction in episode 11? I think there's a shot in this episode that's useful. Yeah, there. Like, you can't tell me you haven't seen at least a few selfie comparisons that are like this and then 6 months post HRT, right? Like, it's... The eyes are the window to the soul, right? That's the cliche. The eyes are the window to the soul. Uni's soul was closed off before because he was hiding it away. He was putting it away, and he didn't want to be seen. He didn't want to be known. It's not like it's all out there. It's not like there isn't still a little bit, but now we get to see who he is, right? He's showing himself. It's good. It's good fucking use of character design to communicate a change in the character's self-understanding. Which is like, this is a drum that I beat very often, is this thing of like, when you make how a character feels about themselves, like who a character is, when you make that evident in the way that you present their body in some way, like the way that you present their character design, you get opportunities to do shit like this. Right? To have these little reveals and play with these little things in a way that you don't if you do the, like... If you do the thing where you sort of consider a character a walking costume, right? Which is like, that's a lot of video games do this. Where the character is not really, like, their body is sort of incidental and the main thing that they are is a big fancy costume. You lose out on opportunities to do shit like this and it frustrates me because character design is cool. It can do shit like that. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Wait, did I go on the wrong frame? I went on the wrong frame. I'm an idiot. Sorry. That was foolish of me. I'd set down a different marker and I got confused by it. All right, 19 minutes 55 seconds exactly. Let's resynchronize with that. My apologies. That was me fucking up with my brain. Let's try this again. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, beautiful little gesture. Baby Riche was holding on to older Riche's cloak. That's probably fine. She's okay, don't worry. I might have to... Hang on. Hang on a minute. Where did I put that? I put it here. And I need to go to that, and I need to do this. Aha! Need to change the opacity a little bit, because we do need to take a little look at... Gorgeous work, isn't it? Like, very dark, very shadowy, very hard to see, but that's the point, right? It's the point is... You have this dark cloak emerging from a dark space. Makes it scarier. And it's quite cool. I don't know that it's 100% communicated, but it is quite cool that Lyra, despite being restrained, is able to cast a spell that stops the cap's tentacles. She is a tremendously capable spellcaster. And just, like, darkness fading into darkness. It's scary, man. It's good horror imagery. Like, without going too far, right? This brimmed cap, by the way, I can't remember how much of them we get to see. Well, it depends on, like, because they're not going to resolve it, right? Okay, so I'm not going to say anything, because I don't 100% know how far they're going to get here. But this brimmed cap is also an interesting one, from a character design perspective. Just because of the associations that exist between what this brimmed cap is and the general thesis of the show. Again, I cannot stress enough, please read Witch Hat Atelier as well. In fact, let me try and find... Let's compare some panels, shall we? This would be volume 6 or 7? Oh, no, that's way too far ahead. Okay. Good thing I didn't put that on screen. Volume 4. Yeah, 4 and 5. 5 is like the end of it, right? Or... Yeah, 5 is further ahead. So we're in volume 4. Let's see. That's the beginning. That's Coco. That's the start of the test. That's... Oh, that's this fucking dipshit. But yeah, like... that little thing about the body language, the animators didn't invent Uni's body language. That comes straight from the comic. They just did a really, really good job of executing on it. I want to find Uni's darkness spell. Also, just, again, read Witch Hat Atelier. Just the paneling, the use of perspective, and, like, the size and detail of characters, the way that she renders it. It's such a fucking gorgeous comic. It really deeply is. Also, Riche's backstory here. Let's find it. Let's find it in the anime. Let's find where we get that little flashback. Right here, we get like this darkness, and then this hand emerges out of it, and we get this sort of faceless character throwing her spells away. Right in the manga, it looks like this. It's like you're not in any doubt about how this is Riche's memory. This is how she feels about this motherfucker. You're not in any doubt about what this person is to her, right? I kind of wish they rendered it like that in the anime as well, but, you know. Hi, Apollo. Yes, no steppy on keyboard, please. No steppy on keyboard, baby boy. Also, the Murphin. Look at the Murphin! Look at them! Look at these precious little things! It really is, like... Just, I cannot stress enough just how pretty, how good Shirahama is at fucking rendering a creature and making it look real. Yes, Apollo, I know. Speaking of creatures. Creature! Don't step on the damn keyboard, you little bastard. God, it's just so fucking pretty. It's such a good little chapter illustration as well, because Uni, his hands are tied in this stockade, but he's also holding the keys to open it for himself. It's so good. Yeah, and Ricci, remember the thing I talked about? I really like the gesture that they gave her. Again, straight out of the manga. Like, they really imitated the gesture of her motion a lot. They changed some things about the proportion, though. Let's see, where... Yeah, the anime takes, like, a much wider perspective. And, like, really sort of swings out the ribbon so that it really, like, does this butterfly curl left and right. The manga does a little bit differently, partly because you can see the image is cropped closer. Right? So there's not that much room to do these big butterfly circles. But it's still, like, it's such an adorable gesture. And, like, the way they use the cloth of the robe and everything to really emphasize that upwards pull gesture. It's beautiful. Just, God, it's just the best illustration work. All the fucking time, it's the best illustration work. Let's see. Look at him. Look at that precious boy. And yeah, I remember right, they invented this specific panel for the anime. I really like this. Like, as an addition, I really, really like this. Riche back to back with her former self, and that little gesture that she's holding on, right? Almost like her future self has given her past self comfort and strength. It's, ooh, pretty. A little Sakuga moment for Agot here as well, when she makes her own declaration. I didn't comment on it at the time, because it's not like it's necessarily plot relevant, it's just they just decided to go really fucking hard on this little casting. With, like, this dramatic camera pull, all of these, like, spiraling eddies of water. This slow build-up as she's delivering her speech, this, like, raising the arm dramatically, up and around. That's such an aura-farming moment. All she's doing is throwing water on the floor, but hey, it's a got. She's got to do it fancy. Profile picture alert. What a good anime. What a good manga. Read the manga. Were there any more panels in this chapter that I wanted to... Well, yes, obviously there were. In the manga, we do a very sudden cut, right? Like, from her asking, like, have you... Ask you about Kiefer. Have you noticed anything? And it's just there, right? And again, the fucking way Shirahama handles cloth, right? The way she handles hatching, the way she handles the weave and fold of it all. Elira is such a cute design. Like, I like the... There's something bird-like about her, isn't there? With, like, the upwards curled hair. And the way she's... There's a little bit... Something slightly secretary bird-esque. Like that kind of bird species is what I'm getting. Yeah, owl hair, you could also say. Absolutely. Because it's the thing is, like, she's very pretty, right? Like, she's a beautiful woman. But her character design is not about how pretty she is. If you take my meaning, right? Like, the character design is not about, oh my god, look at this absolute fucking 10 out of 10 smoke show baddie. She just is pretty. She is gorgeous. But, like, the hair especially, there's a slight, like... There's slight campiness to it. Right? There's a slight silliness, a sort of lighthearted cheerfulness to this, like, upwards pointing, very energetic hairstyle thing. It's nice. Gesture. Oh, so good. Anyway, moving on to the next episode. Let's do that before I get stuck just reading the manga again. I could, though. I could just read the manga for a whole video, couldn't I? I could just make a whole video reading the manga. I couldn't, because you might not know this, but manga publishers in Japan are pretty aggressive about not just letting you read a whole comic in a video on YouTube because of, because they kind of need you to buy them. So I can't, much though I would want to, but I'm definitely going to make that Best Panels of Witch Hat Atelier series of shorts at some point or another. Cause God, there's so many. They're so pretty. Anyway, I think that's it for this episode. So let's move on to the next one. Bye.